Hi everyone, it's Obsidian here from Obsidian Star. This is my what I wore this month for May. This one here is a big long night pad that I got off a lady on LiveJournal. It's a cotton velour top and a purple flannelette back. This is actually quite faded. This pad must be about 9 or 10 years old, I think. And as with a lot of my older pads, a lot of them are quite faded, not just from wear, but I think because I don't have an electric clothes dryer, I do it all on the clothesline. So sometimes I do forget and leave them on the clothesline for a week or so, and then some of that can fade them quite badly. So that's why some of my pads are quite faded. Well, when I first started using cloth pads, I also had a rule that everything had to be purple. All my pads had to be purple. So I do like purple, but so particularly my older pads, quite a few of them were all purple and all very faded. This one here is from Outrageous. She was a New Zealand pad maker. She's closed down now. This one is a micro fleece top and a plain PUL back. I like the micro fleece top. I actually didn't realise it was micro fleece when I saw the listing and bought it because I've never seen printed micro fleece before. But I found that it was quite nice because you can it feels nice and dry on top, even if you've got a very heavy flow, because the blood just wicks through into the core and doesn't stay on the top, so it's quite good. This next one is in my very old, very faded pad collection. This one it's a bit like wearing your old comfy pajamas. It's really soft and comfy and sort of big and bulky, but in a comfy, soft, sort of way. So yes, it is quite sort of stained and faded and a bit old and sad looking now. It's a Glad Rags pad. This one must be again around 9 or 10 years old, probably. This style of pad, this was their night pad, so inside it's only got one layer of cotton terry. The idea is that you put another booster in here. I didn't buy the booster that came with it because it was just a very little sort of one that only covered this much. It didn't actually go into the ends of the pad, and that's where I would need the absorbency as well. If you look inside here, that's the colour that the pad used to be, darker purple. So what I did do instead is I made my own booster to go inside it. So I copied the same shape, so it still has the flared ends. It's 2 layers of bamboo fleece, and it's got a backing of, it's not PUL, it is ProCare, because I had some of that to use up. It is a bit tricky to try and stuff that in one-handed, but let's see if we can do it. So the idea is that this is what I would call a boostable pad. So you could wear the pad on its own, but it's not very absorbent on its own. And it is a lot easier to do when you can hold the other end of the pad, I will say. Get in there. Right. Oh, now it's twisted. So actually you wouldn't wear it that way, because you would want to have it with the waterproof part on the outside edge. Right. So, here we go. So as you can see, that my shaped booster inside it covers the same shape as the pad, so there's no chance to sort of leak off the edges really, whereas the one that came with it, it was much smaller, so it was like that short sort of thing, and only it didn't flare out, so that's why I made my one. So yeah, so this design, so this sort of boostable design means that you can wear the pad without the booster in it, or you can wear it with a booster in it. The advantage of taking the two parts apart is that both parts are much thinner, and therefore they take a lot less time to dry. And if you wanted to wear it without the insert, you could, or you could put a lighter insert in, or a smaller insert, or even a longer insert if you wanted to. You could make one that that overlapped the pad if the pad wasn't quite long enough. Yeah, so it just gives a bit extra different opportunities to use it. This one here is a Twinkle Lily. Paisley I love just about as much as I love purple. So this one is a bamboo velour top. This one's a few years old as well, 5 or 6 years old as well. I've got a couple of her pads. This one is from Cloth Cycle. So it's got a lovely minky top just to this top section. That's my cat playing with his toys. So it's gone a bit bananas. So I love the print on this one. And then on the back, it's actually got corduroy, which is, or pinwheel cord we call it, a very fine, fine corduroy. I don't know if you can see, it's going to be too blurry. You don't often see that as a pad backing, but it's quite a good grippy surface for your pad without having to have the warmth of fleece. This next one is a very interesting design that you might not have even seen before. I've never actually seen anybody else do pad quite like this. This one is from a pad maker called Rainbows. She closed down. She was an Australian pad maker, and she closed down possibly about 9 or 10 years ago, so that's about how old this pad is. Purple bamboo velour on the top, and then if we turn it over, the back has a snap on and off extra booster. So the idea is that you can wear the pad on its own without the booster, and it's got, I think there's one layer of hemp through the core of the pad and then one layer of hemp as the backing, and then the booster part itself is the same, so it's got a core part of the bamboo, the hemp, and another full layer of the hemp, and it's got wings, so that when you have the pad snapped around, you've still got some leak protection with the PUL in the wings. So that's quite clever. Now the cool thing with this pad, actually, it's so you can unsnap that section if you wanted to have it quickly dry, so that you're not trying to dry a pad with all the lots of different layers. But the other cool thing is, because it sort of makes a little triangle effect, when you've got it, you can hang it on the clothesline without needing pegs. So that's very cool. You can also sort of mix and match too. So I've got a couple of these longer ones, and if I was to lose one of these, then I can use one from the other pad, which is very cool too. So this one, I find that this was a good pad for if I had sort of underwear that had a very slim crotch, because it's quite a narrow snapping pad. But it is, I do tend to prefer pads that have got a bit more of a flare to the back, so that you don't get a bit of a pad wedgie happening. This one I got from Fanny's Tail Feathers. I've got two from her. So I liked this Sugar Skulls, and this one has a WinPro fleece back. I love the shape, it's just a very interesting shape. So nice and trim through the centre. It's very nice. This is another one in my old faded pad collection. This one must be about 6 or 7 years old now. This is from Angel Pads. She is another Australian pad maker who has closed down. I liked this one because I love the paisley. This is quite faded, it was a bit darker when I first got it. And the hand-dyed hemp top. And I quite liked the little A that was embroidered into there. So that was all very cute. When I first got this, this was the sort of my favourite in my big pad collection, because I'd never really before seen somebody who taken so much effort to centre a print on the pad as this one was. This one's from Modern Acorn. She's another pad maker who's closed down, so quite a few of the pads in my pad collection are from pad makers who've closed down. But yeah, so I really liked the shape and design of this pad and the print. It's got a fleece back. Sorry, my video cut out. But I was trying to talk about anti-pill fleece. So a lot of pad makers these days talk about the backing of the pads being made from anti-pill fleece, and they use the term as if it's a specific type of density of fleece or a specifically leak-resistant fleece. But what anti-pill fleece means is a fleece that won't get pills. Now, what pills are is these things. So you see the little sort of balls of fluff that have created on this pad. Those are pills. These little bally bits, they're called pills. And so when something has it, it's gone pilly. So what an anti-pill fleece is simply a fleece fabric that resists getting these. They make the fabric in a certain way that means that you won't get these. These form when fabric is rubbed. It's basically, so I mean, this happens when you wear them in your underpants and it all gets sort of rubbed. You find that sometimes these pilly sort of things happen in armpits and in crotches and places where fabric is likely to get worn and rubbed. And so an anti-pill fabric is just simply a fabric that is made to resist that sort of effect happening. So you can get anti-pill micro fleece and very thin fleeces, and you can get anti-pill other fabrics too, not just fleeces. You can get them in microfibers and things like that. So whether it's anti-pill or not doesn't necessarily mean that it's a very thick fleece or it's a very waterproof fleece. It just simply means it won't get these little pills. So this is not an anti-pill fleece fabric, obviously, but that's what anti-pill means when it's talking about fleeces. It's resisting getting pills. So yes, so this is my lovely modern acorn pad that I love very much. Now this next one, hopefully I've got it up the right way. Yes, this is a pad from Mishmash. This was the first time I've worn this pad actually. I think I've had it for a couple of months, but I hadn't got around to, because I do have a pad stash of about, I can't remember now. At one stage I had 300 pads, over 300 pads, which was just a little bit insane, and I wasn't wearing all of them, obviously. And some of them were very old, and some of them I just didn't really like, and so I got rid of them. So I think I've come down to about 125 or something, I think, now. But there's still a lot more pads than, you know, any normal person would need. So there are some pads that I don't wear for months and months and months, and so even if I love them, sometimes it takes a while to get around to using them. So this is the first time I've used this pad, and what's so exciting about it is, ta-da! It's Deadpool! So there's Deadpool embroidery, or applique, probably more the actual term. Little minky Deadpool on the back of my pad. So the top is a lovely bamboo velour, in a sort of like a reddy pinky sort of colour to match the Deadpool on the back. So that's very cool. We have a pad from WIWTM. I like this sort of very cool goth kind of look. And it's upside down. Upside down, Miss Jane. Although you might not be old enough to get that reference, or Australian. It's a Mr. Squiggle. Anyway, so WIWTM pad. It's a cotton top and just a plain black PU backing. It's quite a lovely trim shape. So nice and thin. Because of the PU backing, it's very trim, so you don't really feel like you're wearing a pad at all. So it's quite nice and comfortable. This one is from Gypsy Heart, another Australian. So a lovely purple star fabric, and she does little, I'm not sure if you can see, it's a little love heart in the embroidery, in the channel stitching. It's very cute. And moustaches. I must ask you a question. Ha ha ha. So that's very cool. This one I bought from All Fluffed Up. I had to remember the name because when I first bought it from her, she didn't have a shop. She was just selling on Facebook. But I really loved the shape. And I picked out this fabric and I was very pleased with the pattern placement. It's very nice. So I really like the shape of these. And look, purple backing. Oh, isn't that just so lovely? So I very much like that shape. That's quite a lovely shape to wear too. It's like nice and trim, nice flared ends. No pad wedgies here. Very nice. And this one is a bamboo velour from Homestead Emporium. So this one's made so that the wings, they're sort of overlocked into the sides. So it means they sort of disappear once you have the pad snapped around. You don't really feel any bulkiness of the wings. So that's very cool. It's a little panty liner from Yurtcraft. I think in total I've got like about 9 Yurtcraft pads or something. It's a bit silly, but I love her pads. It's a WinPro back. So just a lovely little colourful panty liner there. This one, I meant to look up who made this pad and I actually forgot. She was a pad maker who was making to the Mimi's Dreams pattern. So it's like the same shape as a Mimi's Dream, but it wasn't made by her. She was an Australian pad maker, and I'll try and put it in the comments. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the comments. So it's a cotton velour top, just a cute little panty liner. And last but not least, it's a very cute little panty liner. This one's from the Essence of Eve. So it's another velour topped one and a fleecy back. So this is quite a tiny little and quite a narrow. I don't have a tape measure here, but we're probably talking about 5.5 centimetres. So 2 inches snapped. And I really like this one for because some of my underwear's got quite a narrow crotch and some of it's a bit wider. So when I have my really narrow crotched undies, I like to wear this one because it's quite nice and narrow. So all of my pads. This was all the pads that I wore this month. I hope you liked my video.